using these manipulation candles and understanding time and price theory, and that these manipulation candles are literally there to trip you out and to have you going in the wrong direction. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Lewis, and all I'm doing is journaling my trade journey. If this is the first time that you've been on this YouTube channel, I want to take this moment to thank you for giving me your time. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I already popped up. The link is also in the description. Make sure you check it out there because we're growing rapidly. I had about 400 followers before I started posting about trading, and then I'm about at 850 right now. It's a slow grind, but you know, I'm not gonna focus on the numbers. I'm gonna focus on doing what I can control, and that is just keep creating content and keep providing my thoughts. It was a very interesting trade week, and I have a lot to talk about. I'm not gonna yap too much in the beginning of the video, but make sure you stick around to the end because that's usually when I let out a lot of thoughts that beginner traders end up having. It's very important for you to stay towards the end. It was NFP week, which I will talk about more once we get into the day which NFP was actually released. Let's get straight into the video. Here we are, and if you're wondering why I have so many notebooks and stuff around, I've been journaling. If you think you're gonna become a successful trader, or that you're gonna come into trading and you're just gonna become, and that you're just him, you're the outlier who's gonna make $1 million in your first year, I am here to tell you that you're very wrong, especially if you're not journaling or studying. I have multiple journals for different types of studying and different types of journaling. I have this notebook right here, which currently I am working on mastering the market maker models. I have this journal right here, which is my actual journal, which I journal all of my trades every day, and that's whether I trade on that day or if I don't, or if I win and lose. It does not matter. It gets journaled. And then I have this journal right here, which I am using to study. Like I said, if you think you're just gonna come in here, you're not gonna have any work to put in, or that it's gonna be really simple, really easy, I challenge you to pick it up. Just pick up trading and just prove me wrong, because that is the thought process that I had as well when I first started. Especially when you're in demo, you think that you're really good at this until you really start understanding how the market gets booked, and then the reality hits. But either way, let's get straight into this video. First, let's just look at how the week ended up playing out. I have a lot of stuff on here, so I'm sorry for the congestion, but I'm not gonna be on the daily too long. Monday was just a straight up down day. The thing that happened with me this week was, since I had my higher time frame draw on liquidity being this low right here, I thought that this week we were gonna start out by maybe Monday and Tuesday reaching down, sweeping the liquidity below these lows, and then heading up to buy side liquidity or towards the buy stops up here. It just ended up turning around, and that is what it can do in trading, which I've learned. You can have a long-term draw on liquidity, or magnet as a better way to phrase it, that you think price is just gonna draw straight to, but the market will sometimes not go all the way under there. And as you can see, we had already swept lows down here. We came down into this bullish order block, as you can see, and then just flipped bullish. Yeah, that's really the way. And I want to see actually if this ended up, as you can see, price ended up respecting the mean threshold of this bullish order block, as you can see right here. If you pay attention right here to this number, which is the mean threshold of the bullish order block, and then the rejection block right here, what came in at 74.28, while the mean threshold of the bullish order block came in at 74.03. So it did respect that and then just took off. So it was reaching for this bullish order block just to turn around. Next week will be a completely different story, but we'll have to wait till next week to see what ends up happening. But yeah, we came down, and I'll be able to get it more into it once we actually get into the trades themselves. But what I have to keep in mind is time and price theory. Not only kill zones during the actual sessions, but also days of the week and then week of the month, because it all plays into how a candle ends up forming. And that ended up biting me in the butt this week. I ended up realizing towards Wednesday, which is kind of midweek, but if I would have remembered this and remembered my weekly profiles, it would have been a completely different week for me this week. But like I said, I am still a developing trader, and mistakes like this will only be improved on if I take accountability for them and I journal them down, like I said. And if you think I haven't been journaling down, I have something else to show you, because that is exactly what I've been doing on all my trades. Whether they're wins, losses, it does not matter. I have been journaling. It has been so beneficial in my development, and I just can't wait, because I'm becoming a beast. Honestly, it's getting kind of scary at this point. But let's get back on track. The rest of the week has ended up being up, so as you can see, down to create the wick for the week, and then expansion up towards the end of the week Thursday, which I ended up catching. I ended up catching the top actually, but then reverse Thursday into Friday, forming the top end of the wick on the weekly. As you can see here, this is the weekly candle. Sorry about so much being on the chart, but this is the weekly candle. The wick down was Monday, and then expansion up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all the way up to here, which was the high of the week. and then we created the top end of the wick on Friday with a turtle soup on NFP and a TGIF setup. But I'll explain that once we get into the actual trades, which we're gonna do right now. Let's get into the actual trades. But so like I said, Monday I was expecting us to head down towards those higher time frame lows to sweep the liquidity, so I was short coming into Monday. Mondays are usually pretty slow and I don't trade on Mondays, but since we had news this Monday, I said I believe the higher time frame draw on liquidity is lower, so I'm gonna take this trade. Coming out of Asia, we were just consolidating. As you can see, we ended up creating a bit of displacement towards the beginning of New York, but as you can see here, leaving a fair value gap, a sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, or a SIBI on the 15-minute. I just played off of that. Once it came back in, I got in at the fair value gap and then targeted this low from Friday. There was a lot more that I missed out on, but like I said, sometimes you're gonna miss out on a lot of price action, and it's okay. You can't be focused on the what ifs in trading. You have to focus on what's next and what you can do to improve. A move like that I could see now as something maybe that I could have just left a runner and see what ended up happening, but that's what I was really thinking in this week was let's get down to those higher time frame draw on liquidity, and Monday just literally melted. Didn't have too much drawdown. It was a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio, and like I said, I don't like to take trades that are less than 2-to-1. I would not take 1-on-1s because it's just not worth the risk, and if you understand money management, it is just better to take 2-to-1s and above. So let's move on to Tuesday, which is where the problem started, because as you can see, we came into Tuesday creating the low of the week on Tuesday actually, but we were kind of consolidating through Asia. Coming into London, we ended up sweeping liquidity below Asia and then just reversing for the rest of the week. And I thought, which I came into the market around here at 7, and if I get into the 5-minute chart, which was where I was gonna take my entry, and I could have took my entry on Tuesday. I took a short on Tuesday, but I should have took a long. I charted it and everything, but like I said, understanding the days of the week and how the weekly candle forms and also the daily profiles, if we have a low of the week on Monday or Tuesday, that means we're gonna have an expansion higher, and vice versa the other way around for bearish conditions. But what was going through my head was that we had formed a 4-hour and a 1-hour SIBI, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, and I thought that since we had already came up and swept the highs from Asia, I was just waiting for some type of displacement, and I ended up getting in too early. I let greed get a hold of me, and one, I had my bias completely wrong anyways, but that is something that I have to live with and something that I've already journaled and that I believe fixed, but we'll only see as we progress. As you can see, the manipulation candles were these 3 candles right here, and I was looking on the 5-minute. I had a chance to enter long here, but I didn't. I entered short and ended up being stopped out with my stop loss above this high, above the top of this candle right here at 805, and it just reversed on me because it was a week where expansion was just gonna go higher. We had already formed the low of the week on Tuesday, and we're going up to fill in the 4-hour and the 1-hour sell side imbalance, and would have been a very simple trade. Could have took my long right here, stop loss below this low right there, and then targeted the 2.5 or the 4 on the fib. Honestly, I would have probably targeted the 2.5, which is a 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio, and then if I would have left a runner to the 4, would have been a 1-to-7 risk to reward ratio, which is kind of ridiculous, but I didn't take that trade. I ended up losing, and I know why I lost, which is very important. I can't express how important it is for you to come in here on days where you lose and try to understand why you lost, try to understand what you didn't read at the time, because that is the only way that you're going to learn, through making these mistakes. I see these losses as the price you're paying for tuition in these markets to understand how these markets book and why you ended up losing the trade. Let's move on to the next day. Wednesday, I didn't trade. I marked it like this for the sake of my journaling, and as you can see, it expanded way higher than it should have, but I was looking on the 15 on Wednesday if I'm not mistaken. What was really getting me was the manipulation candles, which I probably would have got in on Wednesday, but I didn't know which way the market would go because it didn't really hit me about the daily profiles and time and price theory with the day of the week. As you can see, it was Wednesday midweek, so you can expect already for price to be expanding on the weekly candle with the low of the week forming on Tuesday. And as you can see up here on the higher time frame on the daily, there was a sell side imbalance, which price was going up to fill. And like I said, I was gonna enter once price entered this zone right here with the bullish order block, and it got very close but never did. I should have just entered once we broke structure up here and then just rolled it up, but I didn't. And that is something that I also journaled, because what was really getting me was the manipulation candles this week. Using these manipulation candles and understanding that that time and price theory, and that these manipulation candles are literally there to trip you out and to have you going in the wrong direction. I ended up fixing it on Thursday. I didn't trade Friday because of NFP, but Thursday I ended up fixing that, and I ended up having a very good trade on Thursday as well. But yeah, we ended up coming out of Asia, sweeping the lows of Asia, and then expanding higher for the higher time frame, which these are all low resistance liquidity runs if you really pay attention to the monthly. In New York, we just had a continuation. We had a manipulation candle come down and trick people into thinking price was gonna start going lower, because for some reason I also had in my head, what I've been doing is that if I have a day where my bias is on both sides, I'm just trying to sit on the sidelines. If I can make a good theory on why price can go either way on the market, I like to just stay on the sideline and then just watch price, because it should only be one-sided. And like I said, with everything I've journaled this week and taken accountability for my mistakes, I've understood that it is very easy to just have one-sided bias and to stick by it once you understand what these markets are actually trying to do. I could have targeted, like I said, the daily sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency up here, which was what it was reaching for, but there was also a 4-hour sell side imbalance that it was reaching for, and I got up into it on Wednesday towards the end of the day as well. Wednesday was a huge day, as you can see. We had news on Wednesday, that's why it did that, forming a huge buy side inefficiency on the 4-hour. Yeah, that's what I saw on Wednesday, and I'm starting to fall in love with trading even more. It's just, I don't know, I like a difficult, that sounds weird, but either way, I like how difficult it is and how much it makes me think. Let's just get into Thursday, when I caught the high of the week, and I knew there was going to be a reversal once I figured out time and price theory, day of the week, and week of the month. Once I got that into my brain, it kind of all clicked for this week. So as you can see here, we had filled in this 1-hour buy side imbalance, as you can see, but we also had this 4-hour and an inverse fair value gap on the daily. So I knew that anything coming up into here, maybe we could have gotten up to the consequent encroachment of the 4-hour sell side imbalance, but we didn't get up there. And what I did was I just targeted the -2 on the fib and closed out my trade up there, catching the high of the week before we ended up reversing on Thursday. But let's talk about the trade in itself. We ended up consolidating out of Asia. As you can see, we were just moving sideways right here. We ended up sweeping the buy side liquidity on Asia, coming a bit lower, which was probably the move in Asia right here, with a turtle soup below all these lows and then displaced to the upside. Once we got into New York, and once I got into the market around 7, I started noticing the manipulation candles, and I knew there were manipulation candles because, like I said, I was expecting price to come up into this 4-hour buy side imbalance and into the inverse fair value gap that we had on the daily. I saw that this wick right here got pretty close, which was just engineering liquidity with these two highs, which price just absolutely obliterated after 8 with the news and everything. As you can see here, the manipulation candles were just reaching into this buy side imbalance on the 15-minute. So I ended up entering once it started turning around, because I knew that price was going to go higher. I went into the 5-minute and I saw that we had created a fair value gap, which ended up becoming inverse over here. So if price ever came down, I was gonna add on to my position anyways. But once we got into this fair value gap here, I noticed that it ended up disrespecting the close on this candle. So once the next candle started forming and started coming down, I just bought into that. Price just took off. As you can see, it was a 6-to-1 risk to reward ratio, so it was an amazing trade. On top of that, we also went under the New York True Open, which is at 7:30. As you can see, the candle open for 7:30 was right here. I knew that we were in a super discount because we had plummeted below the New York True Open on a day where I was bullish. So once I saw price dip down below it and this fair value gap become inversed on the 5-minute, I took my entry off the 5-minute and ended up winning my trade and catching the top of the move for the week, because I had it in my mind that we were probably gonna end up reversing towards the middle of the day. So I'm just happy I got out at 9:30, and then as you can see here, just ended up melting for the rest of the day and then into Friday. Now Friday we had NFP, which I was not going to trade. As you can see, price action for Friday was pretty wild. We had NFP turtle soup and a TGIF setup. If you don't know what a TGIF setup is, basically once we create a very big range for the week, there is a chance that we get a retracement back into the range for the the week on Thursday or Friday. It could happen Thursday, but usually happens on Friday. I wrote it down in my notes last night while I was charting to see what was gonna end up happening. It ended up playing out exactly how I thought it would, with price coming into this 4-hour sell side imbalance and then melting all the way down to this buy side imbalance on the 4-hour as well, and reaching into the consequent encroachment. As you can see, the CE right here, it would have been a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio, honestly, because there is a 4-hour imbalance and I didn't know how high it could reach into the 4-hour imbalance. So this is what I would have done. I honestly could have had it up a bit lower, maybe like around here, and it would have been an even crazier trade. But just to be safe, 3-to-1 is never a bad trade, especially on NFP. It was a turtle soup because, as you can see, swept liquidity above London and then just melted all the way down, which is more of a high risk trade. But if you know what you're doing, it could play out for you if that is the type of setup you have. But we ended up coming out of it. Also kind of was a seek and destroy type of day because we came out of Asia, swept the lows in London, and then came up, swept the high of Asia in London as well. And then in New York, we ended up sweeping the high in London and the low in London, coming into this 4-hour buy side imbalance and consequent encroachment, which was my actual target. And I remember because I have it in my notes as well. I didn't take this trade because it is NFP and it could have gone either way, honestly, but that is the plan that I had last night. I just didn't execute on it because it was NFP. Basically, what I want to say for the end of this video is, if you haven't followed me on Instagram, make sure you follow me on Instagram, share this video, like this video. Thank you so much for the support we've been getting on the YouTube channel. 610 subscribers as of right now and counting. It is only a matter of time before we reach 1,000, and that is all thanks to you. So thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you are a beginner trader, like I said, there is no getting around putting in the actual work, and I thought I could get around it. Not true. There's no getting around putting in the actual work, and it will show because trading will exploit everything that you need to work on as a person outside of the markets as well. This is actually making me a better person while, you know, building a lifelong skill. Just submit to time. Don't think about it as just, oh, I'm gonna get it all figured out by this certain time, or I could get it done faster, which you do want to, you know, become proficient in these markets as soon as possible. But the losses, like I said earlier, that you're taking right now are all tuition for a lifelong skill with no income cap. Honestly, you can make as much income as you want in trading, but you have to master the skill, and that is what really keeps me going. Apart from my why, your why always has to be stronger than anything else, because these markets are literally made to manipulate your emotions and make you want to quit. Smart money takes advantage of dumb money or uninformed money. They want you to come into these markets not knowing what you're doing, get upset, and then quitting because they already took your money. So make sure you journal every little thing and study as much as possible, because it's getting real scary. I could already see when I'm 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, I'm gonna be a multi-millionaire in this, because I know I have what it takes to become successful outside of trading and in trading. This is not everything that I'm falling on. I have so much going on outside of trading. This is more like a skill on top of the skills that I've already built and can add to my repertoire of life skills. That's the best way to really put it. Don't quit. Like I said, your why needs to be very strong. I have a very strong why, and you also need to have a life outside of trading. You need to have discipline outside of trading, because if you don't have discipline outside of your life, the discipline will not carry into the charts. You need to have other things that you're focused on. Like I do crypto, I do investing in the stock market, I do trading, I do content creation, I'm a videographer, and a couple other things that, you know, I'm not gonna talk about. But I want to see if you guys notice my new vision board in the background as well. I don't know if you can see it, but it's back there. And honestly, I had to upgrade it and update it, make it a lot more aesthetically pleasing. And with bigger dreams, I see that I accomplished a lot of the things that I had on my old vision board, and I didn't throw my old one out. It's still over there. I accomplished a lot of the things that were already in it. I wanted to update it with new things because obviously I am growing as a person. But apart from that, I also wanted to see that I can dream bigger. There's no limit in my mindset at all. When people tell me I can't do something, that just builds the fire inside me and makes me want to prove them wrong. Not for them, but for myself. I want to prove myself right, that I am the person who I say I am. Dream big. Dream as big as you can. Make your dreams so big that other people look at you like you're crazy. And that is why I had to upgrade my vision board. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been yapping for a while now. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, follow me on Instagram, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.